Ambassador Ji-won Park stood tall as she entered the great circular chamber of the Confederation Hall. The massive room held representatives from over 200 alien species, and today they all watched the human with thinly veiled amusement. 3. Years had passed since Earth discovered faster-than-light travel and joined the Galactic Confederation. In that short time, humans had learned a difficult truth. They were considered weak and primitive by the established powers of the galaxy. Ji-won adjusted her formal diplomatic uniform and approached the central podium. The blue light from above made her black hair shine. She had practiced this speech countless times, knowing what was at stake. "Honorable representatives of the Confederation," she began, her voice clear and strong despite the enormous chamber. "I come before you with urgent information about the Arcturus hegemony's military movements near human space." Almost immediately, sounds of clicking, whistling, and rumbling filled the chamber. The translator in Ji-won's ear converted these alien noises into understandable words. Laughter. The Draconid ambassador, a tall reptilian being with gleaming scales, leaned forward. "The human ambassador speaks of the hegemony as if they are a threat to her kind," he said, his voice dripping with mockery. "Perhaps humans should focus on basic shield technology before concerning themselves with galactic politics." More laughter followed. Ji-won gripped the edges of the podium, keeping her face neutral despite the burning in her cheeks. Supreme Counselor Vrax, a being of pure energy contained within a floating mechanical shell, raised a glowing appendage for silence. "Ambassador Park, while we appreciate Earth's concerns, the hegemony has shown no direct hostility toward your planet. Your species has only just begun to explore beyond your solar system. Perhaps these matters are best left to more experienced civilizations." Ji-won took a deep breath. "The hegemony has taken 3 neutral systems in the past month. All evidence points to Earth being their next target." "Evidence?" A blob-like being from the Muraski Federation gurgled. "What evidence could humans possibly gather that our advanced sensor networks have missed?" "We have our methods," Ji-won replied carefully. The chamber erupted in more laughter. "Human methods," the Draconid ambassador hissed with amusement. "Do tell us, Ambassador, did you send your primitive ships with their chemical rockets to spy on the hegemony?" Ji-won maintained her composure. The aliens didn't know that Earth had been collecting information long before official first contact. They didn't know about the crashed alien ships that humans had secretly studied for decades. They didn't know about Project Nemesis. "We respectfully request Confederation support in this matter," she continued, ignoring the mockery. "If the hegemony takes Earth, they will control a strategic position that threatens multiple Confederation worlds." The Supreme Counselor's energy form pulsed with what seemed like impatience. "Your request is noted, Ambassador Park. However, without concrete evidence of hegemony aggression toward Earth specifically, the Confederation cannot take action. This session is adjourned." As the chamber emptied, Ji-won stood alone at the podium. The Vindar ambassador, one of the few who had treated humans with respect, approached her. "Do not take it personally, Ambassador Park," the tall, slender alien said in a soft, musical voice. "They treated my species the same way when we first joined. The older powers enjoy their position too much." "Thank you, Ambassador Elix," Ji-won replied. "But I fear Earth doesn't have the luxury of time that your people had." Back in her private quarters in the Earth Embassy, Ji-won removed her formal uniform and sat heavily on her bed. The room was small but comfortable, with a large window showing the gleaming towers of the Confederation capital world, Centauri Prime. Her communication device beeped. The message was heavily encrypted, coming directly from Earth Defense Coalition headquarters. Ambassador Park, the stern face of General Minho Lee, appeared on the screen. "Report." "As expected, General, the Confederation dismissed our concerns. They still see us as primitive newcomers." The General nodded, unsurprised. "Then we proceed as planned. The hegemony attacked another border outpost last night. Our intelligence suggests they will move on the Sol system within 3 weeks." Ji-won felt her heart sink. "So soon?" "Yes. You are being recalled to Earth immediately. There is something you need to see." "Project Nemesis?" Ji-won asked quietly. General Lee's expression remained neutral, but his eyes flashed with something like pride. "It's time you saw what humanity has really been capable of all these years, Ambassador. The final systems are coming online now. The Confederation has no idea, do they?" "No. While they've been laughing at our primitive technology, we've been building something that will change the balance of power forever." A soft beep indicated another incoming message. Ji-won checked it quickly and turned back to the general. "I've received official notice. The Hegemony Ambassador has requested an emergency meeting with me tomorrow. They're going to deliver an ultimatum." "Perfect timing," General Lee replied. "A stealth shuttle will pick you up after that meeting. Your replacement will handle the diplomatic fallout while you return to Earth." After disconnecting, Ji-won walked to the window and looked out at the glittering alien city. For 3 years she had endured the condescension, the mockery, the dismissal of human potential. She thought of Project Nemesis, hidden away in Neptune's orbit, a secret 30 years in the making. Let them laugh, she thought. They won't be laughing much longer. The next day, as the Hegemony Ambassador delivered his thinly veiled threats, Ji-won simply smiled. In less than a month, the galaxy would learn that underestimating humanity had been their biggest mistake. The stealth shuttle cut through the darkness of space, its advanced cloaking systems making it nearly invisible to even the most sophisticated detection equipment. Inside, Ji-won Park sat quietly, watching as Neptune grew larger in the view screen. After 3 weeks of tense travel from the Confederation capital, they had finally reached the outer edges of the Sol system. "We're approaching the facility, Ambassador," said the pilot, Captain Minju Ryu. "You might want to see this." Ji-won moved to the front of the shuttle. Through the view screen, Neptune's blue surface glowed in the distant sunlight. As they drew closer, she noticed one of its smaller moons. There was nothing remarkable about it at first glance, just another grey rock orbiting the gas giant. "I don't understand," Ji-won admitted. "I expected something more impressive." Admiral Tae-hyun Kim, who had been quiet for most of the journey, smiled slightly. "That's the point, Ambassador. The best-kept secrets are the ones hidden in plain sight." As they approached the moon, a section of its surface seemed to shimmer and then disappear, revealing a massive hangar bay carved into the rock itself. The shuttle smoothly entered the opening, which sealed behind them as soon as they landed. "Welcome to Outpost Titan," Admiral Kim said as they disembarked. "The public face of our Neptune operations." A small welcoming committee greeted them, all high-ranking officers in the Earth Defense Coalition. They passed through several security checkpoints, each more stringent than the last. Finally, they entered what appeared to be an ordinary conference room. "Before we proceed further," said General Min-ho Lee, "I need to remind you that everything you are about to see is classified at the highest level. The Confederation believes we are decades behind them technologically. This illusion has been carefully maintained since before we made official first contact." Ji-won nodded. "I understand." General Lee placed his palm on a scanner hidden in the conference table. The floor beneath them began to descend. "The outpost above us is real, Admiral," Kim explained as they dropped deeper into the moon. "It houses 300 personnel who maintain our legitimate operations in the outer solar system, but it's also a cover." The elevator finally stopped, and the doors opened to reveal a vast underground complex. They stepped out onto a viewing platform that overlooked an enormous construction bay. Ji-won's breath caught in her throat. Below them stood the largest spacecraft she had ever seen. It was at least 3 kilometers long, with a sleek predatory design unlike anything in Earth's known fleet. Workers swarmed around it like ants, adding final touches to its gleaming black hole. "Project Nemesis," Admiral Kim said quietly. 30 years of work, built in complete secrecy." "How?" Ji-won whispered. "How did we build something this massive without anyone knowing?" "Piece by piece," General Lee replied. "We recovered technology from crashed alien ships long before official first contact. We've been studying it, improving it, and developing our own innovations that even the Confederation hasn't thought of." They took another elevator down to the main floor. Up close, the ship was even more impressive. Its hull was made of a material Ji-won didn't recognize, something that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "The hull is composed of a metamaterial we developed," explained Chief Engineer Sun Hee Choi, who joined them on the floor. It can absorb energy weapons and actually use that energy to power our systems. As they walked the length of the massive vessel, Engineer Choi pointed out various features. Artificial gravity generators, inertial dampeners that allow us to make turns at speeds that would crush most species, and our pride and joy, the Sun-Forge cannon. She gestured toward the front of the ship, where a massive circular opening was visible. It harnesses energy in ways the Confederation scientists believe is impossible. We've tested it on asteroids in the Kuiper Belt. It can cut through any known shield technology. Ji-won struggled to take it all in. And the hegemony has no idea. None, Admiral Kim confirmed. They think they're facing a handful of outdated cruisers and frigates. The ships they've seen were deliberately designed to look primitive. They entered a situation room where officers monitored screens displaying data from across the galaxy. A young lieutenant approached with a tablet. "Sir, we've intercepted new communications," he reported. "The hegemony fleet has changed course. They're heading directly for Earth, not the Mars colony as we expected." General Lee frowned. "Timeline?" 4 days at most. The room fell silent. Ji-won felt her heart racing. 4 days until the hegemony arrived with what they believed would be overwhelming force. 4 days until they discovered how wrong they were. "Is Nemesis ready?" General Lee asked. Engineer Choi nodded confidently. "She's ready. The crew has been training in simulators for years. They can deploy within 24 hours. Admiral Kim turned to Ji-won. "Ambassador Park, you've spent 3 years studying the hegemony and other Confederation species. Your knowledge will be invaluable in the coming conflict. I'm offering you a position aboard Nemesis as my diplomatic advisor and second-in-command." Ji-won thought of all the times she had endured the mockery of the Confederation representatives, the dismissive attitudes, the condescension. She thought of Earth, vulnerable and alone without allies. "I accept," she said firmly. General Lee nodded with approval. "Then it's settled. Admiral Kim will command Nemesis, with Ambassador Park as his XO. Prepare for boarding within 12 hours. As they left the Situation Room, Ji-won paused to look once more at the massive Dreadnought. For 30 years, humanity had prepared for this moment, working in secret while the galaxy laughed at their supposed primitive technology. In 4 days, the laughter would stop. The hegemony fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. 50 warships, their hulls gleaming with purple energy shields, moved in perfect formation toward Earth. At the center of the fleet was the massive flagship, the Conqueror, nearly twice the size of any other vessel. On board the Conqueror, War Commander Zerxoth stood before the main view screen, his 4 arms clasped behind his back. Earth's blue sphere looked small and vulnerable against the blackness of space. "Pathetic," he said. "Their defenses are even weaker than our intelligence," suggested. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Drek, nodded in agreement. "The humans have positioned their fleet near Mars, only 23 ships, as expected. They hope to draw us into a battle away from their homeworld," Zerxoth laughed. "A useless tactic. Send half our forces to crush their fleet. The rest will continue with me to Earth." The hegemony ships split into 2 groups. 25 ships headed toward Mars, while the remainder, including the Conqueror, continued toward Earth. Near Mars, Captain Hana Cho watched the approaching enemy ships from the bridge of the EDS Defender, Earth's most advanced known warship. Her crew worked calmly at their stations, but she could sense their fear. "All ships report ready, Captain," her first officer said. Hana nodded. She knew what was coming. Her fleet was outnumbered and outgunned. Their orders were to fight, to make the battle look real, but to eventually retreat in apparent defeat. Launch. "Fighters," she ordered. "Defensive formation Delta." Earth's fighters swarmed from the larger ships, tiny against the massive hegemony warships. The battle began almost immediately, with bright flashes of weapons fire lighting up the darkness of space. The humans fought bravely, even managing to destroy 2 hegemony destroyers. But the outcome was never in doubt. One by one, Earth's ships were disabled or destroyed. "Captain, we've lost the Santiago and the Beijing," the tactical officer reported. "Shields down to 15%. Hana took a deep breath. "Send the retreat signal. All remaining ships fall back to Earth." The surviving Earth vessels turned and fled toward their homeworld, pursued by the victorious hegemony ships. It looked like a complete defeat. Exactly as planned. At the Confederation capital, the Emergency Council session watched the battle through real-time transmissions. Ambassador Ji-won's replacement, a young diplomat named Jun-ho Lee, stood alone in the center of the chamber. "You must help us," he pleaded. "The hegemony is slaughtering our people, just as Ambassador Park warned you they would." Supreme Counselor Vrax's energy form pulsed slowly. "The Confederation regrets Earth's situation, but we cannot risk war with the hegemony." As the Council debated, the main screen showed the hegemony fleet approaching Earth. The planet's remaining defenses, orbital platforms, and a handful of ships prepared for their last stand. Meanwhile, deep inside Neptune's moon, Admiral Tae-hyun, Kim and Ji-won Park walked through the corridors of the Nemesis. Crew members moved with purpose, preparing the massive ship for battle. Despite never having fought in a real conflict, they had trained for this day for years. They entered the bridge, a large circular room filled with advanced technology. The crew stood at attention as they arrived. "Status report," Admiral Kim ordered as he took the command chair. "All systems green, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Hee-jin Kang, the weapons officer. "Main engines ready, weapons charged, shields at full capacity." Ji-won took her position at the Admiral's right hand. On the main screen, they watched as the hegemony fleet surrounded Earth. The last of the human defense fleet fought desperately, but was quickly overwhelmed. "Sir," the communications officer called, "incoming transmission from the hegemony flagship. They're demanding Earth's surrender." Admiral Kim nodded. "Put them through." War Commander Zerxoth's alien face appeared on screen. His lipless mouth curved in what passed for a smile among his species. "This is War Commander Zerxoth of the Arcturus hegemony," he announced. "Your pathetic defenses have been crushed. Surrender now, and your people will be permitted to live as servants of the hegemony." Admiral Kim met the alien's gaze without flinching. "This is Admiral Tae-hyun Kim of the Earth Defense Coalition. You should have taken us seriously." He signaled for the transmission to end. Zerxoth's confused expression vanished from the screen. "Send the activation code," the Admiral ordered. Deep in the command center on Earth, General Min-ho Lee received the code. With a grim smile, he entered the final authorization sequence. On Neptune, the small moon housing Outpost Titan began to shake. Dust and rock fell away as massive engines dormant for years roared to life. The moon's surface cracked along predetermined lines, breaking apart to reveal what lay within. On board the Conqueror, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. "War Commander," Sub-Commander Drek shouted. "Massive energy readings from Neptune." "Neptune?" Zerxoth demanded. "That's impossible. The humans have no major installations there." On the view screen, they watched in shock as what appeared to be a moon split open like an egg. From within emerged a warship larger than anything the hegemony had ever built. Its black hull seemed to absorb the light from the distant sun as it accelerated toward Earth with impossible speed. "What is that?" Zerxoth whispered. Drek checked the readings again, his hands shaking. "The energy output, it's beyond anything in our database. It's not possible." The Nemesis moved with grace that defied its massive size, covering the distance from Neptune to Earth in minutes rather than hours. As it approached the hegemony fleet, smaller ships began to launch from its hangar bays. Advanced fighters unlike the primitive craft the humans had used earlier. On the Nemesis bridge, Admiral Kim gave the order that humanity had been waiting. 30 years to give. All weapons free. Target the hegemony destroyers first. The Dreadnought's weapon ports glowed with blue energy. Then, beams of concentrated power lashed out, cutting through the hegemony ship's shields as if they weren't there. 3 hegemony destroyers exploded in quick succession. The invasion had begun, but not the one the hegemony had planned. Chaos erupted among the hegemony fleet as the Nemesis tore through their formation. The massive human Dreadnought moved with impossible agility, its black hull absorbing enemy fire while its weapons cut through alien shields like paper. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Admiral Tae-hyun Kim sat calmly in the command chair. Around him, the crew worked with quiet efficiency. They had trained for this moment their entire careers. 3 more destroyers down, Admiral, reported Lieutenant Hee-jin Kang from the weapons station. Her fingers danced across the control panel as she targeted another enemy vessel. Their shields cannot withstand our weapons. Ji-won Park stood beside the Admiral, watching the battle unfold on the main screen. She had spent years enduring the mockery of alien diplomats who believed humans were technologically primitive. Now she felt a mixture of pride and vindication. The hegemony is regrouping, she observed, as the enemy ships pulled back and formed a defensive circle around their flagship. Admiral Kim nodded. As expected, Lieutenant Kang, prepare attack pattern Sigma 3. Sigma 3 confirmed, Hee-jin responded. Maneuvering thrusters ready, the Nemesis suddenly changed direction, using thrusters no ship of its size should possess. The sudden movement caught the hegemony vessels by surprise. Their targeting systems failed to compensate, their weapons missing the human Dreadnought entirely. In the hegemony flagship Conqueror, War Commander Zerxoth gripped the arms of his command chair as another explosion rocked the ship. How is this possible? He raged. The humans are primitives. They build ships with chemical rockets and metal hulls. Sub-Commander Drek studied the readings on his console with growing horror. Sir, we've been deceived. The human vessel is using technology we've never encountered before. Their hull appears to be absorbing our energy weapons and using that power to strengthen their shields. Impossible! Zerxoth slammed his fist down. No species has mastered energy conversion. At that level, another blast hit the Conqueror, causing systems to fail across the ship. Emergency lights flashed as the main power fluctuated. Sir, Drek said quietly, the human vessel is hailing us. On the view screen, Admiral Kim's face appeared. The human looked calm, almost serene as explosions lit up the space behind him. War Commander Zerxoth, Kim said evenly, your fleet is being decimated. Surrender now, and we will spare your remaining ships. Zerxoth bared his sharp teeth. We will never surrender to primitives. All ships focus fire on the human vessel. Use the plasma cannons. The transmission cut off. The remaining hegemony ships turned their heaviest weapons toward the Nemesis. Streams of superheated plasma, capable of melting through the toughest known materials in the galaxy, converged on the human Dreadnought. For a brief moment, the Nemesis disappeared within a blinding ball of energy. Cheers erupted on the Conqueror's bridge. Did we destroy it? Zerxoth demanded. The cheers died as the energy dissipated, revealing the Nemesis completely intact. Its black hull glowed slightly from absorbed energy, but showed no damage. On the Nemesis bridge, Admiral Kim turned to Hee-jin. Status report? Shields at 92%, Admiral, she replied with a slight smile. Their plasma weapons actually recharged our main capacitors. The Sun-Forge cannon is now at full power. Excellent. The Admiral's expression remained neutral, but his eyes showed satisfaction. Target their flagship. At the front of the Nemesis, a massive circular port began to open like the iris of an eye. Inside, energy swirled and condensed, growing brighter, until it was painful to look at directly. What is that? Sub-Commander Drek whispered as he watched the human ship on the Conqueror's screen. The answer came in the form of a blinding beam of concentrated energy that lanced out from the Nemesis, cutting through space itself. When it struck the Conqueror, the flagship's advanced shields flickered and failed almost instantly. The beam continued through, slicing the massive warship from bow to stern. "Evacuate!" Zerxoth screamed as systems exploded around him. "All personnel to escape pods!" The Conqueror broke apart, secondary explosions rippling through its structure as its power core destabilized. Escape pods launched in all directions, fleeing the doomed vessel. Throughout the Confederation, emergency broadcasts showed the battle. Species that had long dismissed humans as primitive newcomers watched in stunned silence as the secret Dreadnought methodically dismantled what had been considered one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. "Sir, the remaining hegemony vessels are retreating," reported the Nemesis sensor officer. "Shall we pursue?" Admiral Kim shook his head. "Let them go. They'll carry the message back to their leaders." Ji-won stepped forward. "Admiral, we're receiving thousands of transmissions from across the Confederation. It seems our little demonstration has attracted quite a bit of attention." "I imagine so," Kim replied with the ghost of a smile. "Open a channel to Earth." The main screen switched to show General Minho Lee in the Earth Defense Command Center. Despite the battle being effectively won, the general's expression remained serious. "Admiral, well done," he said. "The President has authorized me to inform you that the second phase of our operation can now begin." "Understood, General." Nemesis standing by. As the transmission ended, Ji-won looked questioningly at the Admiral. "Second phase, the hegemony." "Is only one threat, Ambassador Park," Kim explained. "We built Nemesis not just to defend Earth, but to secure our place in the galaxy." He stood and walked to the front of the bridge, looking out at the stars beyond. "For too long humanity has been dismissed and underestimated," he continued. "Today that changes. Helm, set course for the Arcturus system. Lieutenant Kang, prepare. To deploy our full fighter complement." The massive Dreadnought turned gracefully and accelerated to faster-than-light speed, disappearing in a flash of light. The Nemesis had been unleashed, and the galaxy would never be the same. 2 weeks after the Battle of Earth, the Great Chamber of the Confederation Council was filled beyond capacity. Representatives from every member species had gathered for this historic session. The atmosphere was tense, quite different from the casual dismissiveness that usually greeted human matters. Ambassador Ji-won Park walked slowly to the central podium, her formal diplomatic uniform replaced by the sleek, black and silver uniform of the Earth Defense Coalition. Admiral Tae-hyun Kim stood at attention behind her, his face revealing nothing. The room fell silent as Ji-won reached the podium. No one laughed, no one whispered mocking comments. Every eye was fixed on the human ambassador who had warned them about the hegemony, the warning they had ignored. "Representatives of the Galactic Confederation," Ji-won began, her voice clear and strong. 3 weeks ago, I stood before you and warned of the hegemony's intentions toward Earth. You dismissed those warnings. You laughed at humanity's concerns. Several representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The hegemony attacked Earth with a fleet of 50 warships, believing our planet would fall easily. They were wrong. The main view screen activated, showing footage from the battle. The Nemesis emerged from Neptune's moon, its massive black hull gleaming in the distant sunlight. The images continued, showing the Dreadnought methodically destroying hegemony ships with weapons technology that had shocked the watching galaxy. "For 30 years, Ji-won continued, while you believed humans were struggling with basic space travel, we were building, preparing. We recovered alien technology from crashed ships long before official first contact. We studied it, improved it, created new technologies that many of you believed impossible." Supreme Councilor Vrax's energy form pulsed rapidly, showing agitation. "Ambassador Park, the Confederation is disturbed by the level of deception your species has engaged in. You hid your true capabilities from us." "Yes," Ji-won agreed simply. "We did. We observed how new species were treated by the established powers. We saw how the Vinda were exploited before they revealed their defensive capabilities. We watched the Trellix lose their resource-rich outer colonies because the Confederation deemed them too primitive to protect their own interests." She paused, looking around the chamber. "We decided a different approach was necessary. We showed you what we wanted you to see." The Draconid ambassador rose from his seat, his scales rippling with colors indicating distress. "The human vessel, this Nemesis, possesses weapons technology that violates multiple Confederation treaties. Treaties that Earth never signed." Admiral Kim spoke for the first time, his deep voice carrying across the chamber. "We were not Confederation members when Nemesis was designed and built, and even after joining, we made no commitments regarding our defensive capabilities." Murmurs spread through the chamber as representatives consulted with their advisors. The legal position was clear if uncomfortable. "The hegemony has sued for peace," Ji-won announced. "Their remaining forces have withdrawn from the border systems they had occupied. Their leaders have agreed to sign a non-aggression pact with Earth and pay reparations for their unprovoked attack." Supreme Councilor Vrax floated closer to the podium. "Ambassador, the Confederation Security Council wishes to discuss technology, sharing arrangements with Earth, particularly regarding your energy weapons and hull materials." "I'm certain arrangements can be made," Ji-won replied with a small smile. though I should inform the Council that Nemesis is merely the first of 3 such vessels the Earth Defense Coalition has constructed. The chamber erupted in shocked exclamations. The Vindar ambassador, one of the few who had treated humans with respect from the beginning, actually laughed out loud. "You have 3 dreadnoughts?" Supreme Councilor Vrax's energy form flickered, in what appeared to be disbelief. "The Nemesis, the Retribution, and the Vengeance," Admiral Kim confirmed. "Currently, the Retribution is stationed at Alpha Centauri, while the Vengeance guards our shipyards in the Kuiper Belt." The implications were clear. Humanity wasn't just capable of defending itself, it had the power to project force across multiple star systems. "Earth has no interest in conquest," Ji-won assured the silent chamber. "We seek only security and fair treatment in galactic affairs. To that end, Earth formally requests a seat on the Confederation Security Council, with all the rights and responsibilities such membership entails." After the session ended, Ji-won and Admiral Kim stood on a balcony overlooking the gleaming towers of the Confederation capital. Below them, media from dozens of worlds reported on the day's shocking developments. 6 species have already requested diplomatic missions to Earth, Ji-won said, reading from her datapad. "And the Trellix are asking for our help to reclaim their lost colonies." "The Confederation has approved our Security Council membership," Taehyun added. "Fastest approval in their history." "Amazing how quickly attitudes change when they realize you can defend yourself," Ji-won remarked. A small shuttle approached the balcony, bearing the Earth Defense Coalition emblem. It was time to return home. "What happens now?" Ji-won asked as they boarded. Admiral Kim looked out the viewport at the alien city. "Now we lead from a position of strength. The next phase of Earth's emergence begins." As the shuttle departed, Ji-won thought about the years of mockery she had endured, the dismissive attitudes and condescension. She thought about the shocked faces of the representatives when they realized how thoroughly they had underestimated humanity. "They laughed at us," she said quietly. Admiral Kim nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "They're not laughing anymore." Back on Earth, in the hidden shipyards beyond Pluto, engineers were already at work on the next generation of vessels. Humanity had kept secrets out of necessity, but now they would help shape the future of the galaxy. A galaxy that had learned an important lesson about judging a species by first appearances. The new era had begun, and humanity would never again be dismissed as primitives.